Giannis Antetokounmpo drops a bombshell about Jaylen Brown. While Giannis Antetokounmpo's statement seems clear and straightforward, crowning Jaylen Brown as the best player in the NBA after the Celtics title, this claim raises many questions. Let's take a closer look at what lies behind these words and why this opinion might be more complicated than it seems. What does it mean to be the best player? Giannis's remark suggests that the best player is necessarily the one who leads their team to a championship. But is winning the title the only criterion for defining an athlete's greatness? If we follow this logic, many incredible players who haven't won titles recently, like Luka Doncic or even Joel Embiid, would be excluded from the conversation, despite their monstrous performances season after season. Moreover, this view places an enormous burden on the players, as if the team's success rests solely on the shoulders of the best player. What about the context? What about the team around them? We must not forget that basketball is a team sport, and the pieces surrounding a player can make all the difference in winning a title. The shadow of Jayson Tatum. Another central question in this debate is the presence of Jayson Tatum. He is widely regarded as the face of the Celtics and has a collection of individual awards that surpasses Brown's. How can Giannis overlook that? Is his statement an indirect way of downplaying Tatum's importance in winning the title? This perspective could create discomfort and generate unnecessary narratives about an internal rivalry that, until now, seems to not exist. Furthermore, many fans and analysts wonder if Giannis underestimates Tatum's overall impact, who has been considered the main star of the Celtics in recent seasons. In a team with two stars of that caliber, defining who is the best becomes a subjective matter that can create divisions both in the locker room and among fans. Does the whole season matter? Another problematic aspect of Giannis's statement is the lack of consideration for performance throughout the entire season. Brown had shining moments, but was he the best over the course of the campaign? On many occasions, Tatum appeared to carry the team on his shoulders, especially during the critical periods of the regular season. A basketball season is a long and arduous journey, and the analysis of the best player cannot be limited to just the final phase. The balance between consistent performance throughout the season and shining in the finals is what makes a true league MVP, and in this balance, Tatum clearly plays a significant role. And what does this mean for the future? Giannis's statement also raises an interesting question. Will Brown be able to maintain this level? Or are we witnessing a peak moment? Many players have had exceptional seasons and have failed to sustain that level of performance. To be the best player in the NBA, consistency over the years is crucial, and that is a narrative only time will clarify. Additionally, this comment could create unrealistic expectations for Brown, placing more pressure on his shoulders in the upcoming seasons. Is he ready for this burden, or might he succumb to the weight of being considered the best? Brad Stevens reveals a secret. During the thrilling championship banner-raising ceremony, one of the most electrifying moments was when Stevens, now the Celtics director, received his championship ring. But it wasn't just his experience that shone that night. His team-building strategies are echoing throughout the league. Stevens, who began as the Boston coach in 2013 and took over as director in 2021, has transformed the Celtics into a true powerhouse. What he has done this season is something rare and incredibly bold. He retained 13 players from the championship roster, a nearly impossible feat in modern NBA times. Let's uncover what is really going on in Brad Stevens' mind and why he is so confident that the Celtics can hold onto their throne for another year. Maintaining the roster. A risky strategy? Keeping the core of a championship team might sound like the perfect recipe for success. However, we cannot ignore one crucial fact. The NBA is constantly evolving. The game changes, opponents adjust, and every season brings new strategies and talents. Could Stevens' decision to keep so many players from last year ultimately stifle the development and innovation the team needs to stay on top? With so many familiar faces on the roster, the Celtics' unpredictability could be at stake. Teams like the Denver Nuggets, Golden State Warriors, and even the Milwaukee Bucks are innovating, refreshing their play styles, while Boston seemingly bets on more of the same. Could this conservatism be Stevens' Achilles heel? The more disease. Will the unity last? Stevens spoke about the concept of the more disease, where players who have already won start wanting more spotlight, more minutes, more protagonism. While he is confident that the Celtics roster is immune to this ailment, is it really possible to keep everyone satisfied? The team's personalities, which have already shown strong egos on the court, might not endure for long without the need for recognition starting to surface. What if internal dissatisfaction begins to arise? Players like Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum, who play central roles on the team, might handle it well. But what about the others? With veterans like Al Horford, can the harmony in the locker room withstand the pressure for more space and protagonism? The dependence on stars and the fragility of the supporting cast. No matter how much Stevens praised supporting players like Luke Cornett and Nemias Quetta, do they really have the ability to maintain the level in critical moments of the season? The absence of Kristaps Porzingis is already a warning sign. While the team showed consistency on opening night, an entire season without depth in the roster could shatter the Celtics' hopes of maintaining a high level. When the decisive moment of the playoffs arrives, excessive reliance on Tatum and Brown could become a problem. If either of them faces an injury or goes through a rough patch, who will hold things together? Will the supporting cast be able to elevate their game? Or are we about to see the Celtics sink when the pressure truly mounts? The challenge of protagonism, Tatum versus Brown? And the elephant in the room, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Although both have shown chemistry on the court over the years, it's impossible to ignore the fact that they both want to be the guy. With Brown recently signing the largest contract in Celtics history, balancing the stars may become a greater challenge than expected. Will they continue to set their egos aside, or will we see cracks emerging between the two biggest forces on the team? Celtics blow up in the opener, but will the playing style fail in the long run? The Boston Celtics season opener was impressive, showcasing a barrage of three-point shots and a performance that tied the NBA record with 29 successful shots. But behind this initial success, a question arises that many are starting to ask. Can this style of play really sustain an entire season, or is it doomed to fail in critical moments? The three-point strategy. Of course, it's undeniable that the tactic of bombarding opponents with long-range shots has been effective. Tatum, Brown, White, and Holiday displayed enviable shooting, racking up incredible numbers. But let's face it, what happens when the team isn't hitting those three-pointers? Does Boston have a solid enough plan B? An excessive reliance on long-range shots can be a double-edged sword. If a night of bad luck comes, and it always does, can the Celtics maintain their intensity and win crucial games without this primary weapon? Three-pointers are exciting, but they leave the team vulnerable to inconsistencies, something we've seen in various teams over the years. Destroying basketball or destroying themselves. Critics raise a valid point. Is shooting three-pointers non-stop destroying basketball? Perhaps not the sport as a whole, but there is an uncomfortable truth. By relying almost exclusively on this type of play, the Celtics may be undermining their chances of long-term success. Where is the physical game? The dominance inside the paint? The tactical flexibility to deal with defenses that neutralize the three-point line? These are questions the team still needs to answer. The hidden side of Tatum and Brown. Ego-proof? While the duo of Tatum and Brown shone in the season opener, their chemistry during critical moments has been questioned in the past. Is this partnership truly solid enough to withstand the pressure of a long season filled with expectations? The two know how to share the spotlight, but what happens when the going gets tough? Egos may start to surface, something that has already destroyed other dynasties in the past. They need a plan B urgently. So, the question remains, are the Celtics ready to face adversity? When the three-pointers stop falling, what will happen? Without a solid alternative plan, initial success could quickly turn into frustration. For a team with championship ambitions, relying solely on one formula is risky. They may be climbing to the top now, but what happens when they stumble? Hey Celtics fanatics! What do you think of this news? Leave your opinion in the comments, as it's highly valued.